Welcome to another week. And I just broke my co-hoster. It's like the title goes scrolling down, you know, it's the planet showing up, the ship and the shit. Waving your fingers on.
Dust fairy.
Dust fairy. Force dust. Serious.
Okay.
It's been a full week.
Yeah. Full week.
Let's talk about some games.
What news about games do you have? We've talked about a lot of the news. I don't think there's...
Oh.
Shows?
We've talked about the shows, the free shows announcing and all that. Yeah.
Movies?
We've talked about the movies announced, about the free and the Game of Thrones and all that.
Anniversaries?
Well, we started the fucking episode last time singing Happy Birthday to George Lucas. Is there any other anniversary we forgot? That's past.
Yeah, the Phantom Menace is 20th birthday.
Oh! Happy birthday to you.
To you!
Happy birthday to you.
To you!
Happy birthday, Phantom Menace. Happy birthday to qui-gon Jinn being incarcerated and Darth Maul! Yay! I lost it.
Yeah, I forgot about the 20th birthday of the Phantom Menace.
Happy birthday to you.
We already covered it.
So yeah, we are recording this on Monday of this week because schedules and all that from us both. So it's there still a lot of time before Friday, but we like to prepare and always release in the same day. So right now, since we recorded our last episode, the only actual news is the anniversary. So this episode, I suggested for us to talk about the first episode, episode 1.
If there is anything new, we can make some a small movie, a small video or something.
Yeah.
Like a heads up video or something.
Yeah, heads up! And before that, we have some news. It's not news, but it's just I would like to explain what happened in one of our releasing services of this podcast. Right now, we're going basically free. It's a small project. We're just starting, so we're not sure yet to how much money we can spend because of our family reasons, life reasons, etc., etc., etc. And one of the places, which is Podbean, it's free if you want to listen. It's free if you want to start releasing episodes, but to release episodes, you only have 5 hours available to upload. So we're basically putting new episodes by deleting the old episodes, and right now YouTube will serve as the data bank of our episodes. So
don't forget, because you can still listen on YouTube because we have the archive there on YouTube. So subscribe, leave a comment.
Yeah.
And also on Castbox.
Yeah.
We have all the episodes there.
Yeah.
So you can also listen there. You can follow the playlist there. There's no worries. All the episodes are there. The sound quality is exactly the same. So don't you worry about if Podbean isn't working.
And you can send us money. Sorry, credits.
Yes, credits.
Credits. For the subscribing service of 1,000 credits per week, we can help us to improve our quality and our service, and probably add a holographic Twi'lek dancer at the end of every episode.
We're just kidding. We will spend the money on merchandise. So, yeah.
And going to see actual Twi'lek slave dancers. So, episode 1, The Phantom Menace, released about 20 years ago.
1999.
1999. The Three Nines and the one before. What were the feelings you had for this episode when it came out?
Jesus. When it came out, I was 6 years old. I can't really remember. Right? I haven't even seen it on the cinemas. I think the first movie, the first Star Wars movie I've seen on the cinema was Revenge of the Sith. But I remember when I saw the Phantom Menace. I had seen the original trilogy before, and I was like, okay, so this is the story of Darth Vader, because Anakin. I was a kid, but I mean,
Anakin did do shit.
I'm not stupid. I can link stuff. So I don't know. When I started to see the movie, I've seen a lot of different things. I mean, the politics discussion. I was a kid. I didn't understand what those things were.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a kid. You don't know politics. So I have like two opinions on this movie. I have my kid opinion.
And the adult
opinion.
That's what we're going to get later.
I can give you right now the kid opinion.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I loved the pod racing scene.
Yes.
I did love it. The fight between Qui-gon and Obi-Wan with Darth Maul. I loved Darth Maul's design.
Mm-hmm.
Scared the hell out of me. I had nightmares with that guy.
Now you have wet dreams.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And I mean, but I think that the core of the movie, I totally missed it, because the movie was very politicized. I think that's the word, politicized. Political, basically, yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. On the first viewings, I've focused on the visual stuff, the lightsaber battles,
the music,
the
kid flying a ship,
the kid racing those aliens. But then when I've seen it years later, because after Revenge of the Sith, I was a lot of years, and you knew me in that time when I wasn't paying attention to Star Wars. I mean, after the prequel trilogy, I was like, yeah, something's not right. And I spent years without watching a Star Wars movie. I mean, I'm ashamed to say this, but I was actually mad at Star Wars. But when I've seen it years later, I mean, okay, let's give this another shot. And I'm sorry for my voice because I'm kind of sick.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, let's give this movie a try. Let's give this movie another chance. Okay, this is political. Why did I not know this was a political movie?
Because you were a kid.
Yeah, like the Trade Federation and Jesus, I had a completely different opinion on the movie.
It's like when you're watching Home Alone. What you see at the first time when you see Home Alone as a kid is a kid being a trickster and some bad guys trying to rob you. What do I see at Home Alone when I'm adult?
Bad parents.
Bad parents. And a kid that, if he study, he'll be an amazing engineer.
No, it's a kid that when it grows up, it can become Batman.
or Joker.
Because prep time.
Also that.
The kid could defeat Superman with prep time. With prep time.
Yeah. Imagine all the traps. So you're telling me that the paint inside the can will be of kryptonite. You're telling me the door puller would be of kryptonite. The staples would be of kryptonite.
Everything would be kryptonite.
The ball.
Basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, coming back to the Phantom Menace. I had a completely different idea of the movie after seeing it years later. I didn't care that much for the pod racing scene on the second viewing, because I was focusing more on the other stuff that I missed. The only thing that I continued to pay attention were the lightsaber battles, because the lightsaber battles in the prequel, and the prequel trilogy, lightsaber battles are completely different. So
they had more time to.
Yeah, and every time you see them, and I mean, still right now, every time you see them, you will see a different detail that you missed before. This is how detailed they are. There is always something new to see on the lightsaber battles that are in the prequel trilogy. I still love the Darth Maul design. It's incredible. I love that detail that when the actor came in, Ray Park, he had like an earring on his left ear, and you can they forgot he had it, and in the movie you can see the earring. I don't know if you've missed it or not, but go see the movie and you'll see the earring. And the fun thing is, on the Clone Wars and on the Rebels shows, the earring is still there.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not part of the character.
It's
a part of the character.
Yeah, it's I didn't when I've seen this when I actually noticed it. I've lost my head.
Now we need to do one thing. We need to see if Battlefront 2 there's the ring.
Yeah, it's there. It's there. On the Battlefront 2, it's there. The earring is there. I've looked for it. It's there. Trust me. But yeah, give me your ideas on.
Well, when I was a kid, first thing I remember when I was a kid of going to the big mall we have here, the oldest one, and I remember there was a release of a Star Wars episode because there were people.
See that thing there?
Yeah.
It's the earring.
There was a release of some Star Wars episode. I'm not sure if it was episode 1. Nice. It was the release of episode 1, but I remember seeing people dressed as stormtroopers and one guy dressing as Darth Vader. I think I was really a kid, about 6 years old, and because it was released in 1999. 1999. And when I see it as a kid, of course, pod racing. Pod racing was the best, especially when I think the movie is well done in two of the three courses they wanted to do for the movie. I think they wanted to do for kids the part of a kid doing stuff. Great. They wanted to do for adults the part of political. Done. They wanted to do for the rest comedy. Failed. Ja.
Yeah, that's something that I think George Lucas tried to implement on the prequel trilogy. Something that there wasn't really present on the original trilogy, and there wasn't really a comic relief.
There was
The
a
re-
little
the
bit
only
with Han Solo.
the only comic reliefs were like C-3PO and sometimes Han Solo,
Yeah.
but it wasn't really a comic relief.
It wasn't forced. It was of the character. It was just being
Yeah.
snarky or obnoxious.
Yeah, but on the prequel trilogy, George Lucas tried to do something different because on the prequel trilogy he had a whole lot of resources that he didn't have on the original one,
Yeah.
and I think he tried to do something different. And like you said, the kid part came out well done. Yeah, the adult part came out
Well done.
somewhat well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was like the Jar Jar thing.
Yeah.
I don't hate Jar Jar. I'm not one of those Jar Jar haters. But I think that if he wasn't there, the story would have played out the same. It's one of those characters you don't need.
It is not in that.
I mean-
It could be still a fool, but not that of a fool.
Yeah.
Because his contribution to the fall of the Senate is important.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think he went way over the top
Yeah.
with the, and it's not the actor's fault.
No, because actually seeing the actor doing, at least the in filming actor, the one with the big thing on the head, seeing him,
I make best the name.
seeing him as playing the part, no, that's funny. Without the CGI, all that, just a guy with a gun head on top of his head and walking. Yeah, boy, I'm the king of the street, yo. That's funny. That was funny. But yeah, actually, my story with Star Wars at the beginning is a little bit weird. What I want to say weird is I didn't have the VGA, the VR, what? The VHSs. Thank you. Nor it was the time for DVDs. It was way earlier for that. But I didn't have the VHS. My grandma recorded the episodes for me on her TV. I think it was my grandma or one of my parents. And it didn't catch the beginning of episode 6 right. So I always thought that, for many years, I always thought that Star Wars episode 6 started with Luke already talking to Jabba the Hutt.
Oh.
Like those minutes before he walking the part of the C-3PO, R2-D2, and that for me for many years didn't happen. Nothing. He was already Luke arriving the castle and say, "I want to talk with your boss." "Oh, he's not gonna talk with you. He is gonna talk with me. He's gonna talk with you.
He was
Yeah.
Captain Marveling the whole thing.
Yeah. Basically, he already arrived at the moment he needed
He
to.
came in
Bam.
and wanted to talk to the manager.
Exactly. So basically, Captain Marvel stole the Luke move.
But basically the only thing that I actually despise on
Episode 1.
Phantom Menace, the only thing that I actually despise is the midi-chlorian stuff. I mean,
Oh yeah.
there was a hit and a miss. That's why I've said the adult part is somewhat well done.
Yeah.
Because the adult part was not just the political stuff, because midi-chlorian, a kid doesn't understand science, and George Lucas with the midi-chlorians tried to give a more scientifical basis.
Well, some adults
To the
still
Force.
don't understand the science.
But it's easier for them to know like the basic stuff. I mean, what is a cell? What is like this? What is like that? You know.
yeah.
So
At least they were forced
you're
to study.
Yeah, you're following me, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I have actually did not enjoy. It's not my favorite. Definitely, it's not my favorite. But it is the movie that has some of the scenes that are my favorites.
Duel of the Fates,
Duel of the Fates,
pod racing.
pod racing, and
That's it.
no, really, Qui-Gon. I think Qui-Gon is actually my favorite Jedi. Qui-Gon is actually my favorite Jedi because
He was the Jedi that wasn't the Jedi that.
after
was the
watching
Jedi.
after watching the movie, I went to search for and it was because of Qui-Gon that I started to look into some expanded universe stuff,
Yeah.
and majorly about Qui-Gon Jinn and his vision of the Force. And to be honest, I think that based on what I've read and what I've seen about it, he is definitely my favorite Jedi. The thing being played by Liam Neeson helps.
Yeah.
Helps, but I think he is my favorite Jedi, and his lightsaber with the combat with Darth Maul is easily one of my favorite parts in the whole of Star Wars.
Yeah. Actually, I really prefer the battle on episode 1 than the battle on episode 3.
Between Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just because for me the episode on episode 3, it was amazing. I'm not saying that, but it was too much CGI for my taste. Right now the CGI is improving and seeing the special effects alrighty then, but still I prefer the scenes with more of a stage than seeing all the green screen. So even that the battle between Luke and Vader was shorter than Anakin and Obi-Wan, I still prefer the look between Vader and Luke. Why? Because it was more real. I also like all the flips and flops and that, but you can do the flips and flops without the green screen. So I prefer it, honestly.
I will say this. Revenge of the Sith. Sorry. It's my favorite movie of the prequels. There. Revenge of the Sith of the 3 is my favorite. But I totally agree. Battle of the Heroes is an amazing theme that goes really well with the whole battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan. But I think the battle between them goes way too long. There are way too many things that could and should have been cut. And the amount of CGI is it's not, I mean, it's not the amount, it's some of the things that they CGI'd in that don't make really that much sense. But when we make a review on the movie, I can go deeper into this.
When it's 20th birthday.
No, I mean, but when The Rise of Skywalker comes out in the weeks earlier, I was thinking like making some reviews on all the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Including the anthology movies. I think it would be interesting for us to do.
Chronologically or numerically?
Numerically.
Alright.
I mean, starting with 1, 2.
We're already doing 1. We'll redo a 1.
Yeah, like 1, 2, 3. Rogue One.
It's one of those games
Solo.
when you sell again the same game for another console and call it remaster it. And basically it was just the same amount with extra points for the 3D.
Yeah.
By the way, just a small thing on the part because of games. You aren't an RPG fan, right? You aren't.
It depends on the mood. Bless you.
Thank you.
It depends on the game.
Final Fantasy VII.
I don't hate it.
Okay, so you know they've been working for years on a remake, reboot, whatever. They announced it's going well. They showed more footage. Amazing, all right. And I joked about with some friends saying, is it going to be so long that we still need 4 discs? And apparently it is.
Jesus.
They're going to sell them as episodes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And I was surprised when Red Dead Redemption 2 needed 2 discs.
Yeah. Now imagine Final Fantasy VII, one of the most sold games for PlayStation 1, being remade after so many years and so many prequels and sequel games. And they decided, we're going to sell you as episodes. Why? Because you're fucking dumb and you'll buy them anyway.
Yeah, they know you will.
Yeah.
People will. Yeah.
Probably I won't.
That's you.
I'll
lot of people
probably...
will.
No, I'll probably just rob a kid that buy the episode.
Fine.
But yeah, episode 1, even most of the people that we know that say, oh, episode 1 is just dumb, it's useless. No,
It's not.
it's not. First, dual lightsabers. Second, politics. Ah, but it has nothing to do with politics. Not in your fucking dumb.
Yeah, because
It's a universe with a government and many planets. If it's one of the people that complains about the politic part of Star Wars that we know, follow Star Trek, which has a council between planets. So it doesn't make fucking sense. You just you can't not complain about the politic part in episode 1 because it's one of the most fundamental to explain all the shit that happens afterwards.
I don't know if it is because people are just lazy or if they are just biased. I mean, if a guy watches and enjoys Star Trek, I don't personally. I'm not a fan of Star Trek. But if a guy says he really likes Star Trek because of politics, and then refuses to understand the politics of Star Wars, it's just being biased.
And lazy.
No, I'm not even lazy. It's just being biased. Because they feel like Star Trek is the civilized part and Star Wars is the medieval part.
So medieval at politics.
You're following
Yeah.
where I'm trying to get. The other people,
complain.
the other people that just don't accept it because they don't want to accept it are just lazy. Sorry, that's the thing. They are just lazy. Like Deadpool says, that's just lazy writing.
But yeah, and episode 1 also helped to give us. They took the opportunity of the prequels to introduce more and more species throughout the galaxy to our universe. We had the Tusken Raiders. We had
Episode 1 basically confirms that
Gungans.
Earth
Yeah,
exists in the same universe as Star Wars
because the alien things,
because of the ET.
the ET that appear on the Senate. Yeah.
It's these little things.
No, but they George Lucas really liked to play with those things with the
George Lucas and Spielberg were
yeah,
best friends. So.
and the thing of Indiana Jones. In one of the tombs, there's a hieroglyph. Yellowglyph. It was a yellowglyph.
A hieroglyph.
A hieroglyph.
Hieroglyph. Sorry.
Yellowglyph.
Hieroglyph.
Yarrow.
Glyph.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Griff.
it's Glyph.
Glyph.
Yeah.
No, I prefer griff.
Okay.
It's not a hieroglyph. No, it's a
drawing.
yellow.
It was a drawing.
It was a drawing.
A meaningful drawing.
Drawing of R2D2 and C3PO in the tomb. And I was like, that's impossible. I don't know if it's true or not, but I still want to believe it's true.
People say that aliens built the pyramids, so
Star Wars.
I believe anything.
So basically, the people, the guys on space, trying to say, we're going to send you a message of what did happen, but you have to tell it a long way. So we're bombing the imagination of this one particular guy. His name is what? John Lucas. How do you spell this? John Lucas. and there was a captive human in the ship. It said, George Lucas. Ah, thank you.
It's these little things that make us appreciate Star Wars, like that non-canon comic that was, and it was
Like the expanded universe.
I don't know if it was part of the expanded universe, but this comic
If
existed.
it was canon or non-canon.
I don't
at the time
remember.
that the other thing was.
Yeah, I don't remember if there was canon inside the expanded universe,
Yeah.
but there was a comic where Han Solo and Chewbacca used the hyperdrive blindly.
Mm-hmm.
They crashed into Earth,
Ah.
and Indiana Jones finds Han Solo, and Chewbacca turns out to be Bigfoot, or Bigfoot turns out to be Chewbacca.
I think it was just for.
It was just for laughs, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's these little things that make us appreciate the bigger picture.
But I need coffee.
Speak, my boy, speak.
Coffee. This is
Speak,
coffee
man.
on the dark side.
Speak like my little boy, speak.
No, Daddy, no.
What have you said?
Family Guy jokes.
I know.
Yeah. And yeah, it introduces a lot of new species, but I think that weren't the aliens only appear that we were talking about on episode 2? Wouldn't say episode 1. My moment can't recall.
What?
The aliens that confirmed that that Earth exists.
The ET species.
Yeah.
It's on the episode 1.
Ah, okay.
I
And
think it's when Palpatine. I think it's when Palpatine is voted as the new chancellor. I think it's when they're all like clapping and stuff.
I loved. I think it was on episode 1. They are talking about. No, it wasn't episode 1. I'm confusing the Rogue One and the episode 7 jokes about the speedster. Because in episode 4, I think, when they're infiltrating on the Death Star to grab Leia, there are 2 troopers talking about speedster, speed vehicle, the TR.
It's not a speeder. It's a blaster. I think it's a blaster.
No, I think it's a speeder.
I think
It's just one of those
I've
cruise
read
speed.
somewhere. I've read somewhere that it was a joke about a blaster being outdated. The joke was originally made on the on episode 4,
Yeah.
and then
They redo
on-
it again
on Rogue
on
One,
one
they
and
redo
do
it.
it in episode 7 too.
on the episode 7 I can remember.
It's when Rey is infiltrating the planet, and she's holding for her life and climbing, and she hides from stormtroopers that were around the corner in the pathway, and they tell about that.
I can't remember. I haven't seen The Force Awakens in
Many.
a long time,
Yeah. But yeah, I think today, after seeing the last episode of Game of Thrones, I'm going to rewatch again episode 1, just for the laughs.
Just for the nostalgia.
Yeah. Well, at least I have to try to find one of those versions that ain't recut it, redo it, re-CGI and all that.
I mean, the thing is, I see a lot of people complain about the acting on the prequel trilogy, but I don't think the acting itself is bad.
I think most of the times they complain about the acting. It's about the guy playing Anakin from episode 2
But
and 3.
even that, I don't think that Hayden Christensen did a bad job. I think
just the character.
I think that he was just hurt, like all of them. Like all of the actors were hurt from the script.
Hmm.
The script was written in a really cringy way. I mean,
All the romance.
the romance between Anakin and Padme was just God, shoot me.
We had the perfect romance between Han Solo and Leia, and then they fucked up. They really fucked up. It was unnecessary. It was too much. The part of, are you an angel? Yes, I am. I'm Charles Angel. And actually, someone do that joke, please. Someone asks, are you an angel? And yes, I'm one of Chowie's angels. And then she's doing a pose, and C-3PO is doing the other pose.
Are you an angel? Shut up, I'm a queen peasant. And directed by George Lucas. That's
And
it.
it was qui-gon Jinn. Then like, what? Oh shit! I blew my cover. Script by George Lucas.
But the thing is, this I know and I understand where George Lucas was trying to go with the whole romance
Yeah.
story between Anakin and Padme. I do. The thing is, on the second, especially on the second episode, not as much the third, but on the second episode, Anakin behaves like a sociopath, like a stalker.
Goddamn.
If you look closely,
Yeah.
he's like
yeah.
he acts like a sociopath, like a stalker, like he wants Padme, or
So basically,
he either has Padme or he kills her.
I gave you an hamlet, so now you're mine for life.
Yeah, like
That's not work.
the
It
pair-
work on my planet.
in the pair scene. I mean, he just uses the force to give the pair to her. I mean, Jesus, no, it's horrible.
Imagine if we should also do like scripts for possible faulty plans on episodes, because imagine that part where he's using the force to give her, and then he uses too much force and down the throat, and she did now. And no, she, or either she was down the throat and she's dead now, or he hit with the pear on her head, and I was like, no.
Here, have a.
Yeah, you're still mine, bitch.
Here, have a pear. No, thank you. Have a pear. No, thank you. Have a pear. I'll shove it down your throat. Do it.
Just do it.
It's like,
Do it. Do it.
Here's the good.
but we're getting a little sidetracked here. That's another idea for another small series.
We need the visual support for that.
We can use like a cell phone
Yeah.
and then treat the image. It's
Yeah.
not that hard. But coming back to the main thing I was saying.
Yeah.
So I can just wrap this up. I think that the actors were hurt by the script, because if you, this is my opinion, the cast on the prequels.
Sorry, I was going to say, well, especially Liam Neeson.
Ray Park was the first guy in cinema to kill Liam Neeson,
Ba, ba, ba.
and he didn't say a single word. That says a lot. Liam Neeson didn't have a
Silent move.
particular set of skills.
Actually, he said, I think he said one line the entire movie.
Yeah,
Yes, monster.
and it's not Ray Park's voice; it's another guy's voice.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson on that movie didn't have a particular set of skills. He will not find you and kill you.
But he'll come back as a ghost. A force ghost.
But the thing is, this is my opinion. The cast on the prequel trilogy was made of better actors than the original one. Just to name a few: Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Samuel L. Jackson, so Natalie Portman. So it's a much better cast than on the prequel trilogy, where you had like one great actor, which was Alec Guinness. and Peter Cushing. But Peter Cushing only appears on the first one. So, and George Lucas had all the resources to do something amazing, something that would take sci-fi movies to the next
The level.
level. And he did something that was really lacking especially on the first two, really lacking. I mean, I will agree that on the third, you can discuss that the third was already a good movie, or I'm not going to get into that. I just want to say that the prequel trilogy was really lacking in a lot of things, especially with the cast and the amount of resources they had.
They put too much shit when it wasn't necessary.
I think he focused on the wrong things at the wrong time.
Yeah. Well, at least part of the income it was successfully well spent.
It's because it's Star Wars. It will always have profit.
But we also have to consider what type of man George Lucas is, because one of the most loved and mentioned moments in the Star Wars movies was the Battle of Hoth. And he didn't want to put the Battle on Hoth at first on the movie. It was the decision of one of the co-screenplayers, or whatever you call him. I don't know your name. Sorry.
The ending of Return of the Jedi was the same. The vision we get on the movie, it's George Lucas' vision, and the screenwriter that wrote the movie with him had a whole different idea.
Yeah.
The idea of the other screenwriter, I don't know his name, was actually make Luke kind of fall to the dark side, and George didn't want that.
Yeah.
And the same happened with The Empire Strikes Back, where George Lucas didn't want the Battle of Hoth to be in there, but I think it was the director's decision, Ivan Kershner, to put it in as an opener to the movie. And the movie is amazing. And to be honest, and this is like to foreshadow a little what happened with The Last Jedi. Sorry.
No problem.
When The Empire Strikes Back came out, it didn't have. It had like a mix of reactions, and now it's regarded as the best Star Wars movie ever made. So, generally speaking, there are people who will say, no, this one's the best. Oh no, this one. I'm not going to discuss each person's opinion, but the thing is, generally speaking, Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie made. And 30 years ago, when it came out, 30 or 35, whatever, when it came out, it had mixed reactions. That's why I think that The Last Jedi, maybe in 10 to 15 years from now, it will be kind of accepted.
Well, nowadays we don't have much of the time available to do the same thing that they did for the original trilogy. Why? Because the original trilogy came out, and no more movies came out. Now I think that nowadays population doesn't have the time to process and complain properly.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're still making some more movies. They don't give time for the people to breathe.
Because you have a lot of movies. Just because you have a lot of movies doesn't mean that this or that movie won't be a classic in 10 to 15 years. I mean, the Silence from Martin Scorsese bombed in the theaters. I've never thought of seeing a Martin Scorsese movie bomb in the theaters. It didn't make any profit. It didn't even get the budget back. The movie cost 40 million to make, and it made like 30.
Silence, the one about the monks.
Yeah. Not monks, the Jesuits, the Portuguese Jesuits. The movie is amazing.
Yeah.
For me, maybe apart from Goodfellas, and maybe Taxi Driver, is the best Scorsese movie. And I mean, the movie bombed, but I'm sure that in 10 to 15 years it will be started to be regarded as a classic.
For me, it's already a classic. It
So-
was really well made.
I mean, Andrew Garfield makes the a performance of a lifetime there,
Yeah.
just like he did in the Hacksaw Ridge, the hero of Hacksaw Ridge. Adam Driver.
Yeah. I love
Adam-
that movie.
Adam Driver also makes a great role there.
Yes.
Just so to make like some parallels with Star Wars here.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
And he didn't. Did he?
And the thing is, the hero of the movie, in the end, eventually he fails in his mission.
Mm-hmm.
And
He fails, but he doesn't fail.
no, he does. Like he's
No, he failed the mission that he was going to do, but he didn't fail the mission of life.
the thing is, he goes to Japan, and just a small
Contest.
comment here. He goes to Japan to find Father Ferreira, but also to prove that the Japanese can be converted into Christianity. And when he gets there, he actually sees Japanese being converted. He did. The thing is, by the end of the movie, he loses his he finally accepts that Japan cannot be converted, and he kind of loses his faith.
Almost, yeah.
So basically, he kind of fails in both of his missions, and the movie is heavy, really heavy. Maybe it's the fact that it doesn't have any music. It makes you feel like it's real. You get lost in the movie.
Well, the movie, it's called Silence.
Yeah.
So,
The
well played.
The composers that were hired to be in the movie, to make music for the movie, basically they composed like 2 or 3 songs, like 20 minutes of music, and the rest they were arranging sound effects: the sea, the wind, the leaves, the jungle. Yeah.
Passarinho, a bird here, bird here. Yeah. But yeah, we're getting again
And we are
off track.
But we are seeing this phenom with the prequels now. The prequels 20 years later, 15 years later, are starting to be seen as good or great movies.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that give it 10 more years, people will say, no, the prequels were actually really, really great. And they were hated back then. That's
It's
why
like
I think
a wine.
that's why I think that there's the sequel trilogy,
Yeah.
The Last Jedi included, will
be
eventually also be regarded.
Good
Yeah.
in 30 years, yeah.
And I think that the original trilogy will suffer the exact opposite.
So basically, we're telling that anyone that wants to be a filmmaker, you can do it. You do a movie, any type of movie. You just have to wait about 30 years to be considered good.
That's not what I'm saying.
Shh, we're giving people ideas. Don't complain.
That's not what I'm saying at all.
Don't complain.
What I'm saying is, making movies is an art, like painting, like making music, and if you know what you're doing and if you trust your work, just do it.
Do it.
The thing is, making movies is an art. Yeah, it's an art. You have to know what you're doing. But the main thing is you have to trust your work. You need to have a plan, and you need to trust your work. And if the idea doesn't
gotta
get your
roll
heart
with it.
pumping, if it doesn't get your blood pumping right away, don't do it right away.
You gotta roll it like Trodrakas.
Basically.
You gotta roll for it. Like Trodrakas, man. So yeah, I think we've talked about the child part, the adult part, meaning the political part, comedy we make enough comedy in these
That's
episodes.
the thing. There's not really that much to say about the comedy part because it's
They kind
it's
of
not
went.
it's not that great. It's not awful.
Yeah.
It's not awful, but it's not that great.
Mm. Some parts were just unnecessary.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, if Jar Jar wasn't there, or if Jar Jar wasn't exactly like that, the story would have played out the same. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thinking, processing. Well, one of the good things they gave us about because of the first movie was the droids, the battle droids,
The
Uh,
Droidekas.
the droidecas, the simple battle droids, the fighter, the bomber droids, the ones with the big gray armor. No, I think that those don't appear.
Super battle droids.
Yeah, the super battles in this episode 2 only. Yeah, and they give us the pod racing game. Many people play that for
think-
many
I
years.
think that the most successful part of the movie is actually the what you call the adult part. It's the most the most successful part of the movie because it's the perfect setup for what comes next. It's the perfect setup for the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It's the perfect foreshadowing of the Clone Wars.
And many plots that appeared on the later shows.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that it's better than the child part because the child part basically is the pod racing scene, and the comparison of Anakin to Jesus.
And in flying in space.
Yeah, basically it's the comparison of Anakin to Jesus, the pod racing, and the fact that he gets on a starfighter and
Do shit
And,
that adults
yeah.
can't.
basically it's that. It's Jesus. He's Jesus.
He's a prodigy.
Jesus turned water into wine. He turns a battle into nothing.
Easy peasy, lemon squeeze.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's enough what we had to talk about today. Yeah, I'm probably gonna see again the movie if I have time. I still have to prepare shit for tomorrow and for today's work. Any more thing?
No.
No. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. but
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah. Too much sleep.
I have nothing there.
Yeah. It's over anything. I have the high ground of the episode. This part was to honor the movie sounds. But yeah, I think that's it for today. We had a special guest to interview in this episode, but he couldn't arrive because of his lack of transport. We had one of the surviving droids of the battle in what's the name of the planet? I forgot the name of the planet. Naboo. I could only remember Camino. But Mino. But yeah, he survived the battle, but he lost his head, so he speaks through a screen that is connected to his data process, but we couldn't pay for the transport for him to arrive. He is kind of, since he has survived, he said, I've seen so many horrors, you have to pay for me.
He can't get on a train. He has PTSD.
The sounds, man. The sounds remind me of the lightsabers.
Sounds, man. The sounds.
The sounds, Roger.
They remind me of Roger Rogers.
Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. This is the sound of what train does. Well, see you on Friday when the episode is released. See you during the rest of the week if you're friends with us in real life. And we'll be back for next week's episode with hopefully new stories, new news, Depends if they release the fucking news.
Yeah, it's been a slow time right now.
They're phantoming the news.
Probably until we get the full trailer for the Rise of Skywalker. I don't think
Yeah.
we'll be getting a
They're
lot of news.
But you missed the
Oh
joke.
no! We have the official gameplay trailer for Jedi Fallen Order
Yeah.
in June,
On June.
which is like in 2 weeks or something.
So we'll get news!
So probably in 2 weeks we will get some news on at least Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Until then,
That's it.
we have to be waiting for something.
Right now, we're going to phantom out.
And we will be a shir chorices, which is basically make shit up to fill the time.
We're pro at that. Well,
So thank you for being here with us. Share with us your thoughts on episode 1, and may the force be with you.
phantoms out!